All right, everybody, we're recording now. Welcome, welcome. We're happy that you are here and or that you're watching it live in the recording, not live, because you'd be watching it back. Welcome to GEG Nor Cal. Happy to have you. If I haven't met you before, I'm Steph Rothstein and co-leader with
Danessa Minji here. Sorry, I'm trying to be cautious. My children, we're outside doing the thing. My room got sprayed, so we're doing it from the outside. My kids are running around, so we're so glad you're here, though, virtually or real live with Richard. Woo! Although he is Sonora, so we know how Oakdale feels about that, and vice versa. But it's all good. It's all good in the GEG Nor Cal, though.
That's right. That's right. Okay, perfect. And then I don't know. We might not have updated that bit.ly, I'm thinking. So we'll make sure that gets updated when we send this out so that you can have the March meeting update.
I knew I missed something there. Good call.
No, that was me. I didn't check it either. It's okay. But everything else is good to go.
It's been a wild week.
We think this will be maybe a quick meeting. We want to give you some updates and we wanted some time just for some check-in as well. And perhaps maybe we can ask people to do the check-in, like maybe they could also like write it in and we could have more of an asynchronous check-in to see how people are surviving. Look at me using terminology, Denise.
Woo!
Okay. Thank you. All right. So we'll move on to that next one, I think, unless you
I expect nothing less from our Q Teacher of the Year.
Oh, stop it. Thanks.
Never.
Also, another award winner here as well, Danessa, as well. Yes. Okay. What was it?
Central Valley Q.
Central Valley. Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you are not already at the Q conference, I cannot recommend it more. It's been a great experience so far.
Yeah, okay. Catch you even on their lives on Facebook. They're
they're pushing them out to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so Danessa is kind enough. She always has like our awesome Amy Poehler quote in here about finding people who challenge and inspire you. Spend a lot of time with them and it will change your life forever. I was taking over that in case there was loudness in your background, Danessa. And so that's what we hope that this GEG Nor Cal will be, and that we continue to grow and learn from each other, and that we inspire one another.
Absolutely.
As always, we have 4 pieces that we'll go over here. We call them our googly treats. We talk about level of certification, but also things that would be helpful. Hopefully have a conversation about things that are working, perhaps get some top tips or tricks we'll be going over today. We'll be looking at Adobe Spark and perhaps some Canva to look at creativity in the classroom, and then some next steps if there's any cool things to celebrate. We were learning some stuff from Richard already about some of the cool things that he does with California Scholarship Federation. So hopefully maybe he can share that in the recording and people can learn more about some cool things that one of our members does. So moving forward, and then Danessa, interrupt anytime. So
you're good.
Okay. If you're not familiar with EDU and 90, we usually show these. So this is a quick update about what is new within Google stuff, as there have been lots of changes in the last couple of months with Google for EDU. So this gives a very brief, it's supposed to be within 90 seconds or so, overview of what has changed. So we'll go to that.
Welcome back to EDU 90. I'm Tim, and on this episode, we'll explore a few updates from Google for Education. Stick around for news on product trainings, the celebration of a decade of Chrome, and more. We're excited to have you join us. And now, on to the updates. Earlier this month, we celebrated Chrome's 10th birthday. Chromebooks were first introduced to schools in 2011 as part of a pilot program. And now more than 40 million students use Chromebooks, and they were the #1 device in K-12 education globally for the last year. To celebrate a decade of Chromebooks, we announced more than 40 new devices for schools and shared news about features like the screen capture tool and support for up to 8 desks. Check out the blog post linked below to get all the details. In February, we kicked off our 7-week product training series covering Google Workspace for Education in Chrome. These trainings are demo-based and succinct, just 30 minutes. If you're looking to sharpen your skills, take a look through the remaining sessions and register. You can also explore recordings of previous sessions on our series site. As part of the Learning with Google event last month, we shared stories from schools around the world that are using Google tools in their classrooms. From Mississippi to Italy to Japan, check out the ways that these schools are meeting the moment and reimagining what teaching and learning can look like. Find them all in the playlist linked in the video description below. Feedback from schools is at the core of every single new feature that's developed for our tools. Simply put, our products could not be as helpful as they are without the valuable input from educators worldwide. To that end, we're working hard to launch new features later this year. And if you're interested in Google Workspace for Education early access programs, please fill the form linked in the video description to share your interest in testing these new features. That's all the time we have for this episode, but we'll be back next month with more news. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe to the Google for Education YouTube channel and click the bell to get notified of new episodes. We'll see you next time. We recently hosted the Learning with Google global online event. Check out our
Thanks, Tim. All right.
Right? Thank you.
Oh, that was very helpful. Yeah, and as I think about it, my goodness, so many, like all the Chromebook stuff, that was what we were using in every room, in every space today.
Yes, I think about that too. And I think, just having the ability to not see the presentation on my Google Meet again has been the, the celebration of the last 2 weeks. Cause that was, I mean, I'm sure anyone who's been doing a Meet was emailed somebody or got an email from somebody saying, hey, I need this back. So seeing that back was amazing.
Yay. Agreed.
Well, it's the three of us. So we are going to do this live play. It's funny. I discovered a new gaming tool, and it's not new. It's not anything super. Oh man, I just opened the wrong thing. So I'm going to put in or Stephanie, if you can put it in the chat, and I will start the GIM kit. GIM kit is very Kahoot-like, in that it's multiple choice. And I'm going to share this tab now. And thank you. And, but it has a variety of different games. So we're going to do just the classic, just to get an idea of how it works. I've played it for the last 2 days with my kids. The first time I played with my students, I played with them because I'd never played before and I needed to know the goods. And of course, kids over my shoulder were like, oh my gosh, she's making $150 a question. And I was like, yeah, because I know how the shop works. So there's a whole shop thing. That's what separates GimKit from Kahoot. I know, just give me a second. And so they get these money and they can buy things in the shop. So things in the shop, they can up how much questions are worth money-wise, which means, of course, they get more things to buy. They can buy a theme. They can buy applause. And the thing that they get most excited about is the sabotage. So if you teach youngers, maybe the sabotage is not for you, but that's okay. The sabotage isn't hard. It isn't mean. It doesn't take points away or anything like that. But it freezes their screen, so they can't make any money for like 15 seconds, which kills the leaders because they're like trying to get all the money, right? Or today a student used blur, so they're doing questions and all of a sudden they can't read it. It's all blurry. Like, if you wear glasses or contacts like me, you can't see anything. That's what it looks like. And it was awesome. And the kid's like, what the heck? And it was just so fun. And they get into it. I like it because they get the questions more than once, depending on how many questions it is. So it's a great review. It's that repetition, which Kripo, of course, talks about with Fast and Curious. So you can use that for that. But it also has the different styles of games. I haven't tried them all yet. And there's some great tutorials out there. We'll have to link that. But the teamwork is obviously teamwork. The trust no one is Among Us. The teacher has to be on a board. I know. So if you want to be super cool, let's go. So I haven't tried it yet, but it's supposed to be awesome. I've watched the video. I thought the kids, we need to practice first. The floor is lava. Donnie Piercy was like, that is the one to play. There's humans versus zombies. So they have to help each other stay alive and attack the zombies, which I thought was really a cool way to do teamwork. There's infinity mode, which I haven't done yet. This one I'm going to do when we do our review for novels, but it's boss battle. So it's one versus everybody else. So you can either the teacher, right? Can you outsmart the teacher? Or you can pick a student. Can you outsmart that one? Include everyone. Super Rich is the same as Classic, except more money and everything costs more. Hidden mode, I've heard that upper grades do not like hidden mode. They like to know who's winning. They like to know who's using what. So that kind of hides the leaderboard. And then there's drain mode. So it's that slow leak. You start making money, but there's a slow leak. So you have to keep afloat, so to speak. So those are the different modes. I haven't tried them all, but I'm super excited about it. And we're going to try it. We're going to check. Oops, sorry. We're going to test our knowledge with Google. So we're all going to play. I'm going to play too. And there's different ways you can do it. There's the time. So we probably won't do 10 minutes. How long do you think we should go, Stephanie? We could do race. First one went. Or,
yeah, let's do that. Sure.
The race or
sure.
all in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do the. Let's race.
All in?
Okay, so let's change the dollar amount. That I guess $1 million is like way high. So I'll do 200 because. Oops, not 2,000. Oh my gosh. We'll do $200. If it gets too long, I'll stop the game. It's fine. And then all the other stuff, I kind of leave. But the power-ups are there. The themes are there. The clean power-ups are the ones I was talking about where it doesn't hurt other players. But I teach middle school, so they like to hurt each other a little bit. Just so to speak. So here we go. I'm going to move my screen over here. I'm super excited to,
21315. Okay. Another friend of mine who teaches high school English, she was saying her kids love this too. And
and just from the first 2 days, I've only done half my classes. They just loved it. They thought it was great. They're like, can we do it again? There's also we're playing GimKit Live. There's GimKit, I forget what it's called, but it's like Collaborate, which I'm going to do next week. And so the students collaborate together, and then you, as the teacher's on the screen, as their questions come in, you can approve or deny them. And if their question gets denied, they have to come up with a new one. So then they practice coming
in. Is this on the Google Suite, like the free educational apps, or is this an additional cost for the school?
They're doing a free. There is a free version. There is a paid version, but they're giving 90 days away free. And everyone I've talked to says it's worth the paid version. I'm just starting, so we're doing it. But it is part of Google. It's one of Google's things because it's on our quiz that we're going to play right now. But as far as I see so far, it's pretty worth it. So the screen you see when you log in, I'll share this tab real quick. It just gives you some answers. So as people oops, I just clicked something. So now I can draw. I didn't mean to do that while people are waiting. So it gives you some
that's
rules.
what I've been doing. I've been drawing.
Yeah.
While I'm waiting.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So it gives you some options so kids aren't just sitting there. And away we go. Oh, man.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Oh, goodness.
Oh, I think it's that one. And the music's really super. And you can see there's a shop or the continue. Oh, there we go. All right. Oh, no, I don't know. Oh, yes, I do. And then my students have been like talking to each other. You can see that the game has started. And, Stephanie just took the lead, so that's right there.
I'm doing.
Hey, bud, are you helping me? Mama's got to win. Why? Because, I don't know. I think it's that one. All right. Ooh, Menji, look, Mommy took the lead. And I, as a monitor, so when I'm not playing, I always call it out, like who's doing what. Ooh, let's shop, see? I'll share this tab, because this one people never get to see, but you can see the shop. So I'm going to raise my multiplier. Let's see how much multipliers are. Oh, $50. I don't have $50 yet, so I'm going to go back. So I'm going to go money per question. I'm going to buy for 10. Let's do it.
Oh.
And then people can see that now Menji just upped some money, right?
Oh, I see how that.
Yeah.
All right. I just let in Alicia. We're playing GimKit on some Google.
Hey, yeah, come on in.
Okay.
And yeah, students can come in late. I think it's that one. Yes. Am I up to $50 yet? Okay, now Rose. Woohoo! I think I got it. Oh, so now I'm going to go back and share my tab so people can see. Up here, this is like the leaderboard, so you can see that. I also can, in the middle of a question, I can go to the shop. So down here, the power-ups is where I can freeze people. There's the cash concealer, streak saver. There's the icer. So like right now, I'm so sorry. I am going to do this for, educational
What are you going to
purposes.
do to me?
I am going to do it to you. So now I purchased the freezer. So now, or the icer.
Evil.
I know, she's so mad at me already. I'm going to use it, and then it tells me, who do you want to use it on? And then boom. And now you can see over here that Stephanie can't do anything right now. She's so mad at me. I love it so much. So yeah.
Want to freeze everybody?
I do want to freeze everybody. Isn't that funny?
That was cool.
Oh, and now Richard. See, I should have done Richard.
Oh, see?
Where's Richard?
Richard's on our meeting, babe. So great. And the music's good. And
Okay, so you go to gameplay.
let me see. It usually says how much time. Oh, we did the amount. Didn't I say $200?
It's gonna take forever.
Yeah, well, I'll stop it just so you guys. But it's kind of fun. The shop is really fun. I think. Oh, since we're recording, so it has like the streak saver, the icer, the quad gradual, blah, blah. The blur is awesome, but you can do themes too, so you can change your theme as you play. The upgrades is the more money stuff,
Okay.
that sort of thing. But it's awesome. Oh, Alicia's in. We'll let her play for a little bit.
How fun.
Oh, it's the first person to 200. Oh, that's what you said. Not the whole team. My bad. There we go. Let's see if we can get it. There we go.
This is I'm really enjoying it.
Isn't it fun? It's
Yeah.
Fun.
I dig it.
Cool.
It gives a little extra something, and this is just the regular version. I have. All right, it's on. So, yeah. So how does it look, Richard?
I like that. That's fun.
This is cool.
Yeah, it's fun. What do you think, Alicia? I know she's like checking it out. She came in a little
I love
late.
it.
Isn't it great? I wish I would have known about it sooner, y'all. That's all I can say. All right. So I'll end the game there.
Oh my gosh, that was really quite satisfying. Like, I really enjoyed it. Richard! I got $2.
Oh my gosh.
That's fun.
So that's Gimkit, y'all. And I was so
Oh my
excited.
gosh, I
I was
love it.
talking. I needed something new for in person, right? Because they've done quizzes. I'll still use it. I'll still use Kahoot too. But to throw this in the mix was so fun. And with the different options of the style of games, with when I said Among Us, their eyes went this big and said, "Please." And I said, "Let me learn this first." But it's at least something, another tool to add to your toolbox.
I love it.
The repetition is great. Once you get through the questions, it'll go through them again. So you get to see them multiple times, and the money. So that we did the race, first person to $200. See how long that took? I think we would have done it had I not started messing around and getting y'all. But there's the race, or we were doing the race. Then there's the group one where everyone, you make a goal. From everything I watched and learned, $1 million is lofty. Do take that down. I did a game today for 15 minutes and the kids loved it. And it was the same questions over and over, but it was a lot of fun. So I'm glad I got to share that with you all. Something new.
As well, like assign them like many of the apps, you can do it remotely, so they do it on their own pace.
Yeah, you can assign it as homework. So yes, it has that option. And the same with the where they work collaboratively and do the questions that they send in, that can be done as homework too. So yeah.
Cool.
Love that. And I think this came out of Danessa and I were just talking about how we're hoping after we're done with, like, we have one more thing that we'll share and show, but it was really like just thinking about this timing, like people are, I don't know about you, but there's just so much. There's so much with, if you're returning to school, that's where we are right now. Like there's so much. And so we just started brainstorming like, well, what can we really focus on for this last part of the school year? And we started talking about ways to weave in things that allow for creativity and allow for connection, and pieces that really are what I hope will be the focus of the remainder of our school year. And how can we end in a way that helps to support continued engagement for students and things that will bring that about. So that's really what prompted this. And then all of a sudden, that's when Danessa went, oh, GimKit, we have to do it. And it's funny enough, the next slide, the piece that I'm going to show you for Adobe Spark, the person who shared this with me, this presentation, the presentation that's in there. So if you click start and just click on her Adobe Spark page that's there and share that. So Shannon Moore, she's come to some of our meetings before. She's technically a SoCal member. So she made this, and I saw her present it at a session at Q, and I asked her if we could steal it and show it here because it's awesome and it has resources already in it. But I didn't know, do any of you already use Adobe Spark or use it with your students? Alicia, I didn't know if anybody at your school.
I haven't used it with students. I've used it, like I created something and used it, but because they can't use it.
Oh, they're not allowed to at your school?
Not out of our school. No,
okay. So, and you know, what's interesting. So ours, we had Adobe stuff was like blocked, but Spark was not. So, because it's free, it was not. So that might be a thing to check out. And now our elective teachers at our school, they use this for portfolio work. So this whole giant page, what you're seeing being scrolled through, is an Adobe Spark page. So if we scroll back up, Danessa, so it's almost a different way. You can use it for giving presentations, but there are so many more ways that you can use it. So there are two things that are right here. If you on this, so the link is in the presentation to it, and I'll make sure that I put it here in the chat. Let me just grab the link, the share link for this whole presentation so that you can access this. And then this is on, I forget which slide it is, Danessa, let's see, it's on slide 6, the link to this one. So I'll grab the other piece as well. So this is to the specific Adobe Spark. If, as you keep going, the next piece, the next one down. So she took us through, you can do Adobe Spark post. That's almost like if you're trying to do things for social media or post out. But the way that she used it with students, if you look a little bit further down, this is how she used it.
These are so good.
Aren't they so great? So essentially what it lets you do is, instead of saying to a student, like, you're going to make a whole slide deck of presentations, instead it's about, do you want to perhaps be using something that might have some statistics in it or graphics in it, right? And it helps to give them a space to do it. And a lot of these things are provided. Other people, teachers can use them in a professional way. You can create your own like cool digital business card, or students could, but so much of it is already housed within it. So they don't have to go anywhere for the graphics. They're all things that are copyright free, all of those pieces. That's the stuff that I think is really quite useful.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And then the next one, so this one, keep going just a little bit further, Danessa, is if you scroll a little farther down, if it lets you, this one is Adobe Spark Video. So Adobe Spark is...
My mouse is stuck, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. I felt it happening. So there's Adobe Spark page, and then there's Adobe Spark, then there's Adobe Spark Video, and it lets you, if we click on, we could click on her top one. I mean, she's done these for a bunch of things. So she used that to introduce herself to her students.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mrs. Moore's AP Language and Composition course. I can't wait to learn and grow together, and I have no doubt this is going to be a fabulous year.
And so she stopped
in AP Language and Composition, we will primarily focus on developing.
People to see was that what's really cool about Adobe Spark is if you have students or staff or anybody where they're saying, well, I don't have like the equipment, I don't have an editing program, this allows you to edit video in a way that is really interesting without any of those tools. So it already includes music for you. It does all the transitions. You can pull in specific graphics that you need, and you basically are building it as you go. So you could have students, in some ways, I think about the way that students on social media build stuff, right? Like when they're making either a TikTok or they're making something, or they're making a post for something, and they're like taking things in little snapshots and putting it together to post. Adobe Spark Video kind of allows you to build a video in that way. Like you could put together images, you could put video clips if you need them in there, you could record your voice, and then you can pull in graphics, and it will help you put it together in a way to tell a story. And they don't have to be super long. So I don't know if Danessa is still there. Otherwise, I can. Here, I'm going to take over. If you're not, you can let me know, Danessa. You're all good. And then the last part, if you keep going down, the other piece is the page piece. So Adobe Spark Page, oh my gosh, her examples are like next level. So she has some really cool projects in here. This heart transplant one is amazing. Okay, so she teaches AP language, and she does this project where the students read about different people who would be up for getting a heart transplant, and they like read about their background. And I think about this idea as something that you could totally use in a variety of topics and grade levels. But essentially, they learn all about these people. They can click on stuff. They can learn more about them. They get more information as you keep going. There's like more and more. And then they have to decide and convince others about who it is, if they were the people having to make that decision, who gets the heart and why. And so it's, I mean, like giant decision making that really does happen. And it's really quite interesting. So yeah, so it lets you put in links, it lets you do all of these pieces, but it's all housed within the page. So what's really neat, and the reason why our electives teachers at our school actually use this for portfolios, is that you get to decide how you want this to be displayed. Is it something similar to the way that like for Google, how you can decide, do you want it just to be within your own domain? Do you want it to go further than that? So for a lot of students, if we don't want something going out there, right, it gives them a link, but people can access it. It feels like a website, but it's something that just like they've created, similar to like a slide deck where you can decide who has access to it. There are ways to do restrictions. So it's really been quite useful. And then there are more tutorials here if you need them. But we as a school, if that helps you, Alicia, we do not overall have access, like only certain departments have access to the Adobe Suite, but it's cut off for us since we use Google stuff, other than Adobe Spark, Adobe Spark Video, and Adobe Spark Page. So those were then turned on, and we're allowed to use them because they've seen how useful they have been to staff and students. And then the other piece is it gives students a way in to creativity with some bumpers. So that's a piece that I think is really helpful, no matter if you're remote or in person. It's like, I don't have to be the graphic designer to show them how to do some of these pieces. It already has some of the templates in there. It's like grab and go. And then I'm not going to do a whole lot on the next one. Hello, welcome. Happy to have you. Hi. The next piece after this is on, if we go back to the presentation, Danessa. Oh, and that's Shannon who made this. So you're more than welcome to check in with her or follow her. She's amazing. I highly recommend. She is an awesome friend of mine, and I thank her for passing this on to us. And then the next one that's here is another kind of design tool. If you are seeking something to help liven up anything that you're doing, if you're not already familiar with Canva, I'm just going to leave this here so that we can spend more time chatting. But it's another one that has some similar elements to Adobe Spark and is free for educators. You just have to fill out the education piece, and then you can use it and even use it with your classes. And then I included a short presentation. If you click on that start button, that kind of guides you through some of the cool things you can do with it. So that's all there. And
Start over. Why not?
and then if there's anything, If there's anything that anybody wants to celebrate, if anybody has anything that you want to share in the chat, we're happy to add it to the presentation to share out again, or anything happening for you, for your school, for your space, for your students, for your classroom, whatever you would like. Please add those to the chat, and we're happy to shout you out. And then really, this is the remainder of this time. I know we have our next slide. This is always here. So if anybody wants any specific support around Google level 1 or 2 or trainer, innovator, or coach, I have all of these. Danessa has, I think, almost all of these certifications. You're close there, Danessa, pretty sure. So we are happy to support. Like, that's what this space is all about, is if there's an area where you'd like to grow, or you want to help other people at your school too, or other, around you, or you want some support in achieving trainer, if you're not there, like all of those pieces, we're happy to help, or be people that you can practice on, whatever you would like. So that's really what, sorry, that's some bright sun coming in. There we go. Now I'm in mood lighting here. I need to turn on the light in my room. So, but we're just wanted to say that we're here if anybody needs support, or if you need anything, we're happy to have you. Oh, the slide deck needs permission. Which one? Oh, the Canva one?
Yeah.
I will fix that. Thank you so much for letting me know. Let me fix that right.
The first one that you sent out, the presentation. The
whole presentation. Let me fix it right now. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry about that. Anyone? Okay,
it's been a month, y'all.
It should work right now, I think. Will you let me know if now it works? I think I fixed it to anyone. Let me copy that. Put it back in here.
Yep, it works.
We're just happy y'all are here, and
we are.
Yeah, and it's we know it's been a wild ride, especially March. March is always really long, I know, for most of us. Some of us are coming back right now. Some of us has been back in person. So we just want to take time to say thank you for taking the time to spend with us. And if you guys need anything, we are here to lean on as well, for sure. We think you're awesome.
We would love to check in and just hear what people's schools, spaces, districts are like right now. Today was my district's first day back with students. So I'm ready for a nap, but it was really nice to see people, honestly. And it was a short day. We're moving into like being back more. We have 2 just Wednesdays where it's like our slow phased in. And then after our spring break, April 12th will be when we're back to being there 4 days a week. At the moment, we're going to be like, students are going to come in 2-day cohorts and be remote the other days. We don't know if that'll shift. There's a board meeting happening right now that we will find out about that. So
I feel that. That was our Thursday. Yeah, we're coming back 4 days a week, or 2 kids will come back 2 days a week, but we're going to do 2 days instead of just the one. Right now, I see my students once a week, not including virtual. So after spring break, I'll see them 3 times a week, which is a huge improvement. So, but it's tough. It's wild, y'all.
Yeah. What are your schools like, Alicia? What's yours like?
So we are the district. We were supposed to kind of have cohorts, and then they came up with this option, and it sounded really good when they presented the option, and then when everybody kind of accepted it, it kind of changed a little bit, and it was like, hey, this is not. But anyways, what we're doing is we're getting at least 10 kids. It's open to 10 kids. I only have 5 kids that are willing to come back, and they're going to be there with us all the time. The other kids stay home, but all the kids are going to be on computer, even the ones that are there, which, like, why would you want to come back to have wear a mask and still see your teacher only, on the screen? So, like, nobody's going to be checking. So I'm going to do whatever I can to make it, and my principal was all, well, because I asked her, what if I take them outside, and she's like, well, it has to be equitable. I'm like, how equitable is it that the other ones are in bed? They don't have to wear a mask, and these guys have to wear a mask all day. So it's not very equitable. So I'm going to try to do whatever I can. I have a bunch of robots. So my friend is going to come, and I have like these really big mats. So we're going to take them outside, like the Spheros, and we're going to, play, safely. And we're going to try the best to make it for the ones that are coming back, because otherwise it's ridiculous. Why are they coming back? They can't even play with each other. So yeah, that's what we're doing every 5 days a week. And I'll have to be on my computer, because most of them are at home.
That simulcasting piece is the piece that that's what I was walking around helping people with how to do that. We had like 40 subs today. So, so helping people through all of that while people are getting their second vaccines. And so some teachers are teaching from home, even though the kids there was all of that. But I mean, people seemed happy to be together. I was super surprised at how chill the students were at dealing with the crazy, of just you walk in and your teacher's not there, and they were like, okay, I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot to be said about how much they've had to deal with this year already. So
I agree. I noticed the same.
Yeah. Richard, how about you?
We've been in some form of hybrid since November. We shut down for a few weeks in the interim, and then last week we started 4 days a week. I'm in high school, so 4 days a week. They go to 1:30 or 1:15, and then the Wednesday is a hybrid learning day or whatever. But we also have 150 students, like Alicia, like you said, 150 students who decided to stay distance learning only, and for the most part, it's not for health reasons. It's just they found that it's easier to stay in your pajamas. And so they're asking teachers, or one of the options is for teachers to Zoom while you're teaching live. And some of us are, and some of us are not doing that. I'm running it more of like an independent study. So the kids in my classroom, I'm giving 120%. Those who are home, you don't need to check in with me on Zoom. You can email me if you have questions. I can schedule a Zoom with you after hours, but it's designed that way. So I don't know if it's working or not. For the ones that are back, I think it's somewhat of a normal school experience, 40-minute periods. So it's really short, but yeah, they are together. So a lot of them, the first week were like zombies. They forgot how to interact. A lot of my freshmen were like, "Where's the library?" And they really felt disconnected from our school. So it's great to have kids back in the room. And there's a vibrancy on campus that we didn't have before. So it's starting to feel good.
That's awesome. I'm glad. I heard that. I met someone at Sonora. They're saying they were doing that hybrid kind of thing. But yeah, I noticed that yesterday, the shyness. And I was like, you guys talked all the time to me in class. What's in class? I was like, you need to talk. But by the end of the day, it was, as kids got here, or was awake, I guess, it was a lot of more interaction. I did the marshmallow challenge, which I know is probably not the most COVID safe thing, but I have sanitation wipes. Yeah, and they had masks on or their shields, and they sanitized before, they sanitized after. I had them throw in the garbage, but they got to collaborate, and they forgot what that was like in like real time. So it was worth it. It was worth it. We talked about the reasonings behind it, and just to get them interacting a little bit, because like we said, online they don't really do it. I'm asking questions, I'm forcing some answers. If it's typing, they were fine, but it's been a really good couple days doing that.
Please, honey, can you get out of bed? Can you turn your camera on? Can you please?
Hey, a tip I saw on Q, you guys, and I tried it on Monday, is turn your camera on and then you give the question, and then they would do it. And I was like, how did I not do that all this time for a year? Or turn your camera off and I was asking questions about who has Chromebooks, to bring to school. And I was like, that worked. And they're like laughing at me. I said, let's all have a blackout day. I know. How did any of it? I didn't know.
That's a great one.
Great tip. Awesome. That's my tip today.
Awesome. And is it Trin? Am I saying it right? I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing it. So happy to have you. How is school going for you?
Thank you for having me. I really like hearing what all of you said, because right now our district is in the process of deciding what we're going to do. So we've gotten feedback from parents so far, and it seems like a few students from each class wants to come back. So we're playing with a few ideas of hybrid, or we might have one teacher online and one teacher in person. They're actually having meetings as we speak right now. And yeah, I look forward to what comes next. But I'm really hoping that either I can be all online or all in person, because I know different hybrid models have been really challenging from what I've heard. Yeah.
And where are you located?
I'm in San Jose.
Oh, where? Yeah.
Allen Rock.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, and I live in San Jose. I teach at Los Gatos, and Alicia's not far too. So yeah, we're close by if you need anything or ever want to chat. So
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah, no problem. But I think I'm hoping that we can maybe send out something within our own group as we like come to the end of this that just lets other people share, and maybe then people, whether or not you're like nearby or not, can find people who are doing similar kind of setups. I think that becomes like, I ended up finding that was what I did was I scoured, and I had people send me videos of what it looks like in their rooms from all across the world. Like, okay, so you've gone back and you're simulcasting. Can you show me so I can show our teachers? And then what it looks like with students in the room and students at home, and how did you do it? And like, what was the set? Like all of those. And so now we've moved, but we're a district where we have some people on Zoom, some on Meet. Like it's kind of a pick what works for you space, and which is fine, but it makes tech and support for technology a little more complex because it isn't just a one size fits all. Yeah, so that has made for an interesting year for me for sure. But I don't know how, like, that's the piece that everybody kept asking, like, where do you focus your energy? How do you do that? So when you were talking, Richard, about like how for yours, like we have one school, not the school where I am, the other high school, where 50% are coming back and 50% are not. So like the ability to, like the school where I am, it's more like 75-25. So our 75% are coming back. So they'll be, and then but then we keep having conversations around how do you ensure that the students at home have like access to all the stuff that, that you're doing in the room.
Well, that's the whole reason that I'm here as a teacher, is for my kids. And so I ask them a lot. I'm like, you guys, how does it work at home when you are on Zoom and the teacher is Zooming, teaching live class, and you're kind of like the camera's kind of on the teacher, but you're really disconnected? How does that working? And the students think it's terrible, it's awful. There's no purpose that I have to be online listening to them speak because I can't interact anyway. Or once in a while, the teacher will come over and ask the online kids if there's any questions, but it's really a disconnect. I don't care how you do it. If you have the headphones in and you got the camera following you, the kids at home are finding that they're really disconnected, and they don't say it's a waste of their time, but they don't say it's engaging and inspirational and worthy. Most of the kids that are at home, it's because they're either being their daycare providers for their homes now. Now they're doing jobs during the day, or they're just finding other things to do with their time during school. School is becoming optional. And so I'm, maybe it's terrible to say in this group, but I just really feel like when we're having to work extra hard to kind of meet the needs of those kids, they're not working very hard to meet the needs for the school. There's few, yes, but when a student is choosing to stay home because it's easier, they're choosing that path. So it's difficult to work extra hard to meet those needs. Maybe that's a terrible thing to say, but, and I want to help them. I want to help all my kids, but I'm like, if you chose to stay home, well, you chose to stay home. You get plan B.
It's a hard one. I don't know. I'm like looking at people's faces. I feel like it's a piece where, at least where I am, the choice for most of the students who aren't coming is because health-wise, their families don't feel comfortable with it yet. The families are saying they wanted to wait until, as parents, they're fully vaccinated. Perhaps they have somebody older living in the home with them. Like there are particular reasons. And
Our county, or at least for the kids I'm hearing, that's not what they're saying. So there's a handful of kids in Tuolumne County that are saying, yeah, that I live with grandma and totally, I mean, and I work as much as I can for those kids. But a lot of them are kind of like wink, wink because of health reasons. And I'm like, honey, you're not wearing a mask at the store. So obviously it's not a concern.
Yeah, it is interesting because there are some students, we've had lots of conversations where what they did discover is perhaps there are some pieces about being able to work asynchronously or independently, like that has worked for them. And that they have liked the ability to go like, I'm going to do this for an hour and then I'm going to do these other pieces. I have found that some students, it does work really well. Yes. I personally have found for my 9th graders, it's harder though. Like, I don't know that they have anything to judge it by, and especially for students where like time management is already a piece and organizational pieces, all of those, like, I feel like this could be a true choice for a student once you have some of those things set up for yourself. And then you're like, actually, I can't handle all this stuff. And I like doing it independently. But right now, I don't know that they really know the choice that they're making necessarily. I don't know. So in our district anyway, we don't have the ability to I know some districts have gone to what you were talking about, where either there are remote teachers or teachers that are live and in person, and ours, we don't have that. I think there was a worry about if there would be some pushback about the equity of what's accessible in the classroom. I don't know that there's an answer to that, but it's not like if they're at home that they are getting what I don't know. Like, doing a lab at home is very different than doing a lab in the classroom, right? Like, those experiences are different. So in some ways, I understand the idea of just going like, well, they are different, but we're going to set it up and we're going to like make this as rich as we can. And we're going to make this experience as, I don't know. But I think at least for ours, we're looking at this as it's still like we're doing the best we can, knowing that the hope is that in August, we're when we start next year, it's back. Like, we'll hopefully learn from this, but that we're returning and we're back in person. And yeah, I don't know.
Look at all the technology we've all learned in this last year. I mean, man, Zoom and Google Meets and Flipgrid and Screencast, all these things that I knew about before, but didn't really dabble that much. And I can give you a Padlet today. I can, with these things are like, we can do these, and that's helpful for everybody.
One of the things that scares me is that, like, we were forced, I mean, as an EdTech TOSA for 5 years, trying to get teachers to really embrace technology and get their students to use it, especially for the students that are disadvantaged and they don't really have, I don't know how many computers at home, just because my husband's in technology and I am too. So, but there's so many kids that don't have access, and trying to get even the district to buy into letting the kids take the Chromebooks home. Yeah. Oh, no, they were not going to bring them back and all this bullshit. And then COVID happened and it's like, oh, okay, let's move. And so what I'm scared of is that we're pushing to go back into the same old. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I think like everybody as teachers, we decided, what's the best thing for our students? Okay, let's do that. But I think it's just starting to feel kind of like the district is trying to, even with our model. I mean, that's, somebody came up with that and thought that was good. Know that that's not going to be good. And like, especially for like elementary, like I do small groups all the time, even in distance learning. I give a lesson, then the kids work on their own, and the ones that can't, or the ones that are very advanced, I take them out and, we do a small group. I'm going to continue doing the same thing, except, one of my groups is going to be live and the other ones are not going to be live. But I mean, I think that you can do it. So that it's engaging, and you do have those kids that they need that structure, because if they don't have that structure, like you said, they just can't do that asynchronous independent on their own, especially if it's a big chunk of time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. I think that we've learned so much from this, and I'm really afraid that in education we're gonna get pushed back into doing it the old way, because that's what's in school.
Yeah, and I think my husband and I, he's an administrator, and we talk about that a lot, about that fear of going back. Because you're right. I think of like the PE teachers on my campus who are like, I don't know how to do this. Help me. And I work the most with them, you know, when we first went out, because they saw, you know, we all saw what was going to happen for the next year. We knew. And I think in my district, when the court came down and said, you know, the stay home orders and all that stuff, I knew we were coming back. So, you know, I worry about that too, about the pushback. But my husband and I have talked about it. Education has to evolve from what we've learned here. It has to. And if we go back, well, then that won't be on those of us in this room, and most, I would say, like 99% of teachers, right? We know we are here for we are here for students. We teach for our students. We do PD for our students. We are here for our students. So I think the fear lies in what, like, maybe new teachers, because they haven't had this experience, or teachers who begrudgingly learned, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to speak for them.
Yeah, how many teachers in your districts were they in a panic last March because they didn't know all the technology?
Exactly.
And you're like, you've offered it for years and you kept saying,
Yes.
no, not me. And now they're like, oh, quick, I need a Google Classroom.
Yes, and it was the Google Classroom. Like, I've been teaching it for giving PD for 5 years. Yeah. So I think they all see it now and how useful and valuable it is, and I'm thankful for that. I also don't think, as a whole, as that we won't go back. I don't think how we can, like you said. It's scary to think maybe. I think, you know, I know my husband's district, they're trying to push to give the option for online for those who are being successful. Obviously not for all, you know, or
That's called
having
independent study. It's a different thing. It's a different animal.
Yeah, it's a different animal. I don't know. We've been using Edgenuity, and it's been interesting, and I hadn't used it. I have a couple of independent study students, and meeting them and talking with them, it's been pretty, you know, those that are doing well with it are succeeding. But those are not for everyone. So what do we do with what we learned this last year? That's the question. How do we change education for the better for our students to be better rounded, more rounded, or, you know, English
That's
teacher
where I've been for the last month, because when our kids came back, I don't know about your kids, but the grades for many of these kids have really severely suffered. And so when they came back in the classroom, and I walked into my classroom, and I didn't normally have my desks in rows, but because of COVID and the distancing, my desks were back in rows, and I thought, this is not the same. This is the same since 1900. So we had to do something different as teachers, because it used to be we had the knowledge that we were going to impart upon our students. Now we don't have to have the knowledge, because our students can go anything we're saying. So we have to do our job. Our role is different than simply being that sage. We have to do something different. So the last 3 weeks, I'm immersed in problem-based learning, project-based learning. It's where I'm going to go. And I've already talked to my superintendent. I'm going to change everything I do towards that model. I'm terrified of what I'm going to do, but it can no longer be how it's been, because distance learning showed us so many of our kids cannot work independently. They can't work without an adult watching over them, walking down the row, saying, honey, turn off your phone, you know, and so on. And so that's just, we got to change.
Yep. Hey, congratulations on that PBL.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're scared, that means it's going to work. And I remember the first, because before, you know, I've been teaching forever, like most of us, you know, I did Genius Hour for the first time. The lack of control the control you have to give to your students is so scary. But they'll embrace it. They really
will. If you need anything, I chair a design thinking pathway. So that's all.
Okay.
All I do is PBL all day, every day.
Oh, good. Well, I was reading it said that usually the initial essential question, that's the easy part, and setting it up is the easy part, and the product is easy. The problem is always that section in the middle of what do you do in your downtime when they're trying to figure out, when you're nervous because, you know, Johnny and Susie are over there in the corner not on task, and you're like, well, do I step in? Do I stay back? And that's going to be probably the biggest learning curve for me, is to be able to kind of relinquish that control and see what happens.
But you know, that's the part, like, oh, I'm sorry, Alicia.
No. I was just gonna say, so like at the beginning, I've done PBLs for 5 years with my English language learners. We used to run a summer program and a Saturday program, and like the kids could not wait to get to school. They'd be bugging their parents so that they could get there. And so I couldn't do it at the first of the year because I was at TOSA, and then I came back into the classroom during this. So I was trying to like, oh my God, keep my head above water. And then I was like, you know what? Teaching science and social studies is so boring the way that I'm supposed to do it with the textbook. So I said, forget it. And plus I was running out of time. So what I did is we had an energy unit that we had to do. And so I wrote a PBL for it, and I had my students do it. I divided them into groups. And then I used to do, I still do, I do the breakouts. And every single time it went into those breakouts, the kids were on task and they love it. And so one of my kids who's very, very problematic, I have a really hard time keeping him on task. He's special ed. And so when we presented to the parents and it was all over, he stayed back after class and he said, when are we doing the next one?
Oh,
So you'll see, I mean, your kids are going to surprise you. And one of the product that they were going to do was going to be like a Google Slides. They did that at the beginning. And then this time the product, what they're going to do as a choice, they can do the Google Slide, or some of them are very, very techy and they like scratch and stuff. They're going to animate the presentation.
So
and
cool.
So, like, each time that I build on it, we're working on different things. And, you know, some of my kids that were reading like word by word, they're fourth graders, but I had some that were reading word by word, and I was really trying to teach them to read and phrases and read nice and stuff. So I had one of my kids that reads beautifully, demonstrate to them how they were going to present their presentation. And they all practiced and practiced. It was impeccable when they did it. And it was like, this is what it means to have something valuable that you're learning for, instead of me telling them you have to read in phrases. They don't understand why, but when they did it,
the American genres are important. They're like, why?
And they totally got it. And you know, like, jump into it. It's hard at the beginning because it's so work intensive for you to get you know, all your ducks in the row and all this stuff. But as each time that you do it, it just gets easier and easier. And the product that they give you, you're just going to be so happy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We just started last week. It's an oral history project. So they have to interview a family member. And then the big deal is I want the product to not be in the classroom. It has to be on either a StoryCorps website or YouTube or something outside. And to hear the kids talking amongst themselves and writing down questions, and that I've done that kind of stuff before in
awesome.
pieces, but never changed everything. So two kids who normally wouldn't speak up in class this last week, they've been really animated. And I'm like, wow, where's this kid been all year? So it's going to be
so
great.
Yeah, and I just presented on 3 PBL units at Q that I did. One of them involves StoryCorps, so I was so happy when you mentioned, like, yeah. So feel free if you need anything. But it sounds like you're off to a great start already, and most of, I would say,
the honeymoon phase is the start. So I don't know.
Well, most of PBL is jumping in and seeing how it goes, right? It's like you're your own prototype, you figure it out, and then you adjust as needed. And
well, it can't go worse than the situation of having zombies in my room, because I'm all jazzed up about, you know, romanticism, but they could care less because they're like, you know, no, they could care less. So I think anything I do is going to be a step in the right direction to get them interested. And if I can get them talking about what we're doing outside of my class, I've already won, regardless what the product's going to be.
Yep. I think that's awesome. So Danessa and I were just messaging, just saying, like, maybe our next meeting we can talk PBL stuff, and we can think about it from multiple grades and perspectives and like all different areas. And so yeah, so maybe we'll put that out there in the ether, and we'll put that out on our Google group. And I think that would be really fun. So I'm excited. All right. Yes. Okay. And look at that. We're already at an hour. So we're going to be mindful of time. We'll stop this recording, but if anybody needs anything, you can post in the Google group. You can message any of us. And then I know it's been a weird year. I hope one day we can get back together one day in person and do stuff. I've checked with May at Google, and she said one day when we can, we will get to go to Google and plan a NorCal thing there. That the last time I met with her, I was like, that's still my goal, May. And she's like, yes, we'll do that. And then I know, and Alicia is like one of our awesome people who's been, she pushes out stuff and events, and she's one of our leaders here. So if anybody else is interested in helping with anything or wants to promote anything or let other people know, you just let us know, and we're happy to have you. And it's a group where more hands is helpful for everybody. So happy to have anybody who wants to be here.
So can I say
interested in working this summer, ... Yes, Elisa.
So I got a thing from the Silicon Valley, I think it's Education Foundation. I always get their name wrong, but I work with them doing some code.org stuff, and they sent me a flyer about a job this summer, which would be with middle school or high school students. If it's high school, it's 24 days. If it's middle school, it's 19 days. And they would give you training. And what you're doing is you're helping students with learn coding with microbits. And it's Make Code, so it's a Microsoft Make Code. So it's Blockly, it's not very difficult, and they give you the training. So if you're interested, just give me your email on the chat, and I'll forward you the flyer that has the information. I think it's going to be like 5,000 something that they. Okay, I'll email it to you.
Thanks, Alicia. All right, everybody, I'm going to hit stop on the recording, and then this has been such a fun meeting. I really loved it.
Yeah, awesome.